Hey everybody, I'm gonna wait a few moments to see who pops in this evening. It has been a while, and for some reason my background music is playing but not on the thing. That is weird. Let me figure out why it's not doing that. I tried to upload the music, it would not play. I do not know why. I have a whole song list that I had put together a while back, so I apologize if the music did not come through. So sorry about that. But yeah, it's been a bit, it's been a while. I guess I'm gonna have to have one of my sons teach me how to get that music to transfer over properly. He's been a great help in compiling some of this music with me, but unfortunately, I don't know why it wouldn't play for the intro, but and so it is. So by my glasses, brother Jorge, good to see you, bud. How are you tonight? It's good to see you here. It's been a while, huh, bud? It's been what, I don't know, probably about a couple of months since I haven't done the live streams. So it's nice to be back here doing the live streams again. You'll notice the title. We don't. If you follow me, anybody who watches this, if you follow me, I don't put this in a way that you have to talk about exactly what I put up. I just put up stuff that I feel like maybe we should talk about during this time frame. I heard a little music, she says. Okay, well, I don't know why it didn't play all the way through, so I'm going to have to work on that and test that with my son and see why the music didn't come over. So I apologize that the music didn't work. But the title is Born Again Prepping, as you saw, and, how a man should raise his family and so forth. I think in the world today, a lot of things are going wrong, obviously, but prepping is looked at in different ways. I have been involved in prepping or to an aspect for many, many years before I started doing YouTube and stuff like that. So I think a different look, and I always want to hear what the brethren say out there, brothers and sisters, and how they feel about prepping and so forth. The first thing to understand is not everyone can prep the same. Not everyone has the ability to do the same thing. That's why brothers and sisters are supposed to be here for each other to help one another. So whether it be compiling, I just put a few things down here. If you watch a prepping video I did before, it's the same thing. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a combination of what secular people do prep, but also Christians should prep as well. And then we'll get into some other prepping. So it's a more important prepping after that. So we're going to put up a few things here now. A lot of people know that I do precious metals. So right here we have what is constitutional silver. Stay with me. I know this is going to sound like, oh, it's going to be one of those videos about how, silver and gold, silver and gold. Well, it's going to be a little bit more than that. I promise. Was that being sarcastic? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But again, not all of us can prep exactly the same. Again, that's why we have brothers and sisters, but there are different types of prepping. And I think some people focus on one type of prepping and not the other type of prepping. So I'm going to go through the first part of prepping, which costs a little more to do so. Light is very bright on you. Okay. I don't know how I can fix that. Let's see if, well, boy, this is a professional show, isn't it? This is the, oh, maybe I shouldn't call it a show. All right, let me see if I can get this light to shine a little bit differently. Maybe it's the angle of the light. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know if that works. I think what it is from the screen. I think that's why this screen. I've got to get one of them. Dorcas actually told me a while back about the blue screen cover, and Sister Dorcas, and I have not done it yet. So I'm probably gonna have to get one of them computer things that block out the screen and to make it not as bright. I think that's where it's coming from because those lights are not pointing at me. So, but thank you, Prav. I appreciate that. But what I was going to get into is most people at the lowest form can do this constitutional silver. Great job on the. Thank you. I appreciate that. Try to fix that up back there and make it a little bit better so it's not such a mess back there. I didn't like the books right behind me because I thought that was, I don't mind the books this side, but I just felt like having the books behind me was being bragocious and being looking like I'm better than others because I have these books behind me. You know what I mean? Some people do it, and that's fine. There's a lot of people out there who do it on YouTube, and that's fine. That's them. I'm not knocking anybody out there for that if that's what they want to do. But for me, I'd rather them right on the side there. So look at that. I was actually pointed the right way on that one. So thank you. I appreciate that. But the lowest form of collecting is constitutional silver. It's going to be used for barter in the future. Now, people say, wait, are you saying you're going to be here for the time of Jacob's trouble? No. This is the problem I have with a lot of folks. They just assume they're going to get out of everything. God never promised that we wouldn't suffer something. We wouldn't go through hard times. We wouldn't have some hardships. There would be some rough spots. There would be things we'd have to go through. Great Depression happened. Recession, all these things, Vietnam, World War I, World War II, Korean War, the list goes on, Vietnam War, the Cold War, whatever you want to say, the Afghan War, the Iraq War, all these things happen and we're still here. I'm not saying we're not going to be gone soon. I believe our time is very near. But we have to stop looking at that way like, well, I'm all set. I'm going to be gone tomorrow. Well, then you're not prepared. And we're going to look at a couple of scriptures later or a couple of stories about that in a little while. But again, this is constitutional silver. That's the lowest thing you can get. Well, the dime would be. And a couple of other items here would be, if I can pick it up, that would be a 1 gram of gold. Now, I don't usually tell people they should just put, and I've said this before, I don't like people to just start waving all this stuff around. But in this particular video, I want to be mindful, but I want to show these for a reason, because we have to look at this like, oh, look at what I have. No, there are many people who can't get 1 gram of gold. Okay, we're very blessed, and we're not ignorant of the fact that we've been blessed to do so, to be able to have this. This would be 1 gram of platinum. You got a 0.5 gram of gold. This is just a 1/10 ounce gold, nothing big and huge and fancy. You got 1 ounce of silver. I'm showing this one. I don't know if brother will be watching tonight, but he, a brother in Christ, a friend of mine down here, he had traded me because he did not have a particular silver. I traded with him, and I didn't know what he was going to give me, but he gave me this, which was a pretty neat coin. It is a constitutional. Is this the Second Amendment one? Yeah, this is the Second Amendment one. So I was very thankful to him for that. So now I want to talk. I'm not going to show the alcohol, but alcohol you should have on hand. What alcohol? Well, you should have certain types. My wife knows about that, making tinctures and stuff like that. I think I pronounced that right. That's making herbs and stuff like that heals you. Lack of a better phrase, but they use that to different ointments and so forth. You just crush things up in the pedestal there, so you have that. So that's with alcohol, but I'm not going to show alcohol on screen. I don't know, I'm a little weird like that. It's just like ammunition. I'm not going to show ammunition on there. Let's get into ammo for a second. I know that there are some particular folks out there that are from the Baptist strain. I don't hate the Baptist or anything like that. I'm not hating all the Baptist people, nothing like that. But the Baptists are pretty much more well known for stocking up on ammo and guns and stuff like that. But there are a lot of guys out there with 10 AR-15s, AR-10s, and all these types of things. That is not me. I do not collect all these AR-15s and AR-10s. Do I have ammunition and weapons? Yes. I have hunting rifles, I have shotguns, and I have carry weapons. Not a whole bunch of them. I don't have like 80 of them sitting around, but I do believe it's important to have a hunting rifle, at least one if you can get one. That's a good thing to get into. I'm hoping next year I'll be able to get out hunting. I did not get out this hunting. I was not able to. So that is that. Now, what I will show you here, and I not just the folks that are with me right now, but those who will watch down the road, please. There's more to prepping than you think there is, in my opinion. This is a peach pit, so this will be going into the ground. Actually, I was talking to my wife earlier. I was talking to the boys earlier. We have to clear out an area on the side of the yard that we haven't done, and that's where some of my wife's elderberry plants will be planted and things like that on that side of the yard. So we got to clear that out. That's part of prepping as well. A lot of people get consumed by the fact that silver and gold, and I have nothing against silver and gold. Anybody knows me, I am absolutely all for having to pick up whatever you can, and that's an excellent thing. Now, let's get in, and we're going to talk about a few stories from the Bible in a moment. I promise you that. Let's get into the other part of prepping or preparing or even helping others. This is a $5 bill. Not really. It's a gospel track, although the light is hard to see, but so that's a $5 gospel track here. This is another gospel track here. Tomorrow may be different. These came from Bible Baptist bookstore. This one I actually found at a local bookstore, local Bible bookstore. This one here is a little thing called, I don't know if you can see that or not. What must I do to be saved? That's another one. Let's see. Now, why am I showing you these? Because these are a little bit more important than even the silver and gold. Because with the silver and gold constitutional medal, without God, none of this means nothing. You're still going to go to hell at the end of the day. It's just that simple. If you're not saved, all this means nothing because you're eventually going to spend eternity in torment. This is another one, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, fact or fiction. It's another one put in the mailboxes. There's another one here. We got world's deadliest drug. Let's see. We'll go through just a couple more. Bear with me for a second here. The truth about hell. The New King James Version counterfeit. That's just another one. Christian rock exposed. These are just some of the ones I have on hand at the moment. There's some more back there. I have another. Forgot about this one. Scripture references are also from the Bible bookstore. This is fantastic to give to people when they're dealing with things. It helps them get to a scripture a little quicker. That might help them. So these, I believe, this. Oh, where we are. Is way more important for helping people prepare than this. That's important to understand. Doesn't matter all the stock ups we have. Doesn't matter how many peach pits we're planting. None of that really matters because at the end of the day, without God, it means nothing. It is all for naught. You can go fire at the firing range. You can shoot off your M16. You can do all those things. Have a blast. You can do all that. Set off whatever bombs you want to. Great, go for it. I have no problem with it. Have fun. Do what you're going to do. But understand, all of that means absolutely nothing. Nothing if you don't have God. If you are not born again, which is going to push a lot of people, I'm sorry, none of this means anything. I don't mean anything at the end of the day. Without the Lord, I'm nothing. Without God, I am nothing. It's that simple. I think it's important to self-reflect sometimes and look at the mirror and say to yourself, you're not that important. You're not that big of a deal. And the only reason you could be any importance at all or any use is if God uses you. A lot of men like to think they're tough guys, big shots, and I have 80 guns and I have this and I have that. I almost forgot. I can't believe I forgot this. One last thing that's really important. If you can get these and find anything or whatever name, the other important prepping material, a survival guide, so to speak, is the King James Bible. That is also, this one happens to be wrapped ones. I have some wrapped ones still left. Let's get these out here. We get these, we put these in some more of these gospel tracts in these packets. That's part of prepping. That is part of prepping that I don't hear anyone talk a lot about. Now, I could be wrong because I don't watch a lot of videos out there of other people. I don't know. So there could be 100 guys saying the same thing. I don't know. I'm too prepared, too busy with what I'm doing in studies and preparing things. So I don't have time to watch 100 people. If some things come across my path, I'll watch them. Sometimes they will come from the YouTube feed, believe it or not, once in a while. A guy named Philip Newton, he came up on my feed one time. It was weird. I don't know why, but anyways, he seems like a good guy. I don't know, but anyways, we'll find out on that one. But that's prepping. That's literally prepping. We seem to forget that the gold, the food, and all that, it is not the number one thing. Yes, we need it to feed ourselves and sustain ourselves, but nothing can sustain us better than the King James Bible. Without the Word of God, you are not fully sustained. But don't you have faith? That's another thing people do. If you have faith, you'll get through anything. It is incredibly important to have faith, but don't have ignorance. Explain to me in the Bible where it says, just have faith and never prepare. God never tells you to prepare. Well, tell that to the 10 virgins. They were caught off guard, weren't they? Tell that to Joseph, who was prepared in Egypt. What about the fact that we should prepare ourselves in Ephesians 6 with the armor of God? Another situation of prepping, isn't it? So when people say these things, I do not understand why they're so anti being prepared. I think being prepared is a different mindset than prepping, which is more of a worldly view. I agree. But you can combine a little bit of that prepping idea with the fact that you're not truly prepared without the Word of God. Look at the ant who was diligent in Proverbs chapter 6. That's another story, another situation. These things keep coming up over and over again. Being prepared. Now, the other thing I put up is taking care of your family. I think that's a controversial thing. I don't think that I'm not doing that study tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's something different that'll be going up. But the Christian world and the secular world, as we know, have always kind of mixed. Look at Constantine and that time period. But if you look at Christians today, you question how they're Christians, or if they're Christians because they have worldly attributes, which I'm really confused by. I believe, if you know me, I've always believed men should, be working and take care of the family. I don't know how you can't feel a little guilty if everybody takes care of your family but you. That is such a woke point of view, and that's what culture we live in. People are always, and I hate to say it's more on the younger side, but it's more on the younger side. They're depending on everyone else. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes a brother and sister gets in a situation and is in need of something, and something bad has happened. That is a completely different thing, and I'm absolutely empathetic to that. We should be helping our brothers and sisters. It's without a doubt. Whatever we can do. We may not be able to do a lot, but the old saying is, a little is better than nothing, right? So that's key. Very, very key. We need to help the brothers and sisters when they're in need. I don't know how we can. We'd have to find out what they are, and if they're open enough to tell you what the issue is and what they need help with, or prayers and so forth, then we go with that. But the younger generation and the woke, unfortunately, there's a lot of woke in the church buildings in the Christian world now, believe that they don't have to work. Somebody else can take care of that. Or I've done something for somebody, they owe me. They owe me. They owe me. And if you know me long enough, I've very often am anti-pastors in the in the buildings working. I mean not working. I do not understand that. I have a hard time having any respect for a pastor, especially if you don't have a large congregation, which you shouldn't be having a large congregation anyways. And to me, I think your churches should be small anyways, like 20 people. To be honest with you, that's I think any more than that is a little too much. I mean, you can't yet. That's any more than that's just too large of a flock. You can't. It's just not happening. Because you don't know everything that's going on with those in your congregation. But there are a lot of people who they get this idea when they're younger that I'm going to be a preacher, and I'm going to be a pastor, and I'm going to lead me a church one day, and I'll make some money. I'll make 40, 50 grand a year. I'm like, I do not understand that. I'm against that. Now, taking care of the elderly and the widows are absolutely key. That is actually very important. I don't remember what verse that is off the top of my head. I'm a professional here, so I'm taking a drink of water. That's another thing. If you know me well enough, this is who I am. I'm going to take a drink of water. I don't put on any airs or anything like that. I'm just taking a drink of water. But elderly were supposed to take care of. The elders were supposed to take care of. You know, the Bible doesn't actually give an age of elders. You know, you won't find an age for elders in the Bible, but we are supposed to take care of our elders. We're supposed to take care of our widows. We're supposed to take care of children. We're supposed to take care of other people's children if, you know, unforeseen circumstances happen to someone. We should be stepping up. But yeah, but elders, if you look at the description of elders, it's a maturity. It's a maturity, and it's aged and experience. I'm always going to say anything under 40 just shouldn't be happening. And you know, I would even have to say under 50, even though I started doing these videos a few years under 50. But you got to be careful there. But a man should take care of his family. He should leave his home and do what he's got to do. He has to go out and work for a living. There are no excuses. I'll even call out a name in a positive way. Brian Denlinger did do a video. Someone showed me a while ago. I don't follow him. I haven't really followed him in, I'm going to say 2 years, maybe. It's got to be 2 years since I really paid much attention to what he has out there. Is it longer than that? It might be 2 years. But he made a good point that, you know, young men should be working. Absolutely, young men should be working. Totally agree with him, 100%. You will not find disagreement here at all with me. However, I would add to that all men should be working. All able-bodied men should be working to support their families. I do not understand the legacy of which you as a father, taking care of your family. What is the legacy you leave to your children of taking care of your family? I was just talking to my dad today, actually, and I was asking him, because I could not remember. I thought it was 25 years, and I couldn't remember. So I was asking him how long he worked at a particular company. He said 37 years. 37 years. Now, well, I mean, he wasn't a pastor or a preacher. He had, you know, so it's different. He can, you know, well, I disagree with theology with him on many levels. I disagree with a lot of that, but he was very involved with the church building. I know some people refer to church building, and we can refer to that. A lot of King James people who don't go to church or anywhere call Babel building a church building. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. But he was a deacon. He was an usher. He was there Sunday, Monday, you know, the obligated days you have to go there, you know, in some places, or you're a sinner. All the outreach programs, all the witnessing on the streets. By the way, they did witness on the streets way back then. More churches did it way back when I was a kid than they do now. All those things. Was hardly ever home. Was constantly visiting people in their houses. Some reached out to a church and stuff like that, and the church would go there, and he still worked for a living. Now, I give him all the props in the world. He was involved with those things, and he still did what he did, the witnessing and stuff like that. Again, I disagree with a lot of issues with my father when it comes to the Bible. I am seeing some things that lead me to believe that he's changed his mind a little bit on things, which is excellent, which is great. I am happy for that. So that's tough. When you're trying to get an 80-plus-year-old to change their mind, that's a toughie. He's still a stubborn old bird, but that's okay. Can I call him an old bird, or is that just for women only down the South? I don't remember. But he's a good man. He's a solid man. He's always about helping people, but nice people don't go to heaven. It's not how it works. But he's out there. So it's important to understand how to prepare for your family, prep for your family, take care of your family, going to a job and working, bringing home that paycheck, however little it may be. And I don't care what the job is. Who cares? I mean, it doesn't make it. I don't understand anybody who attacks anyone for their job or belittles them. You see that a lot in the world. I don't mean just Christian world. I mean regular world. Just in general, a lot of people are, oh, really? You work at Walmart? Who cares if he works at Walmart? If that's what he's got for a job to take care of his family, at least he's out taking care of his family. That's how I look at it. I'm like, I'd rather him be working at Walmart, taking care of his family the best he can, than not working at all. So kudos to that person. I don't have a person in mind. I'm just saying, just in general. So, I mean, it's very important from, that standpoint of preparing and prepping and taking care of those things. We are men have an incredible duty. I don't want my sons to ever look at me and goes, yeah, he sat all at home all day and just read the Bible and did nothing else. That's great that they read the Bible, but you know what message does it send? It sends a message that, okay, I'm confused. He reads the Bible, but he doesn't even work. He doesn't do anything. What a man, that is not where I want to be. We have to teach them how to be men, work for a living, how to treat a woman the best that they can, open the door for your wife and all those things. It's important because they watch that. They watch that. They're paying attention to what we do as parents. So what we do, if we're slothful, if we're lazy, if we don't do certain things, and they see that. But you can absolutely be a godly man to the best of your abilities and go out and witness and go out and evangelize and make a YouTube channel if you want. You can do all of these things and take care of your family, go to work. There are men out there who do it. Now, I personally, I feel a little guilty because I did have a conversation with a guy named Sharpened Shooter, I think his name was, and I shouldn't have let myself say things like, that, hey, listen, he was saying, he goes, oh, you try doing both working and the other thing. And then I unfortunately responded, I do. I work all day and I spend a lot of time in here doing studies, getting packets ready to witness to people. And I get to, on my job, I get to talk about God, which is awesome. So, in fact, I have one gentleman, I think I'm going to talk to him in the next upcoming week. That'll be interesting because he's in the hospital. And but because if you know what I do, I deliver oxygen to patients and stuff like that. So it's and it's not the highest paying job in the world, but it's rewarding the fact that you get moments to bring a smile to people's faces, speak about God a little bit, build relationships. That's important too. You have to build relationships in certain situations to reach people. You don't have to always throw the Bible at someone's head. I'm going off course here a little bit, but that is my conversation, my starting conversation, I guess, about preparing and prepping and taking care of your family. Being a role model for your kids. I'm blessed. I have 3 kids here at home, and wow, and they're amazing. The oldest one, he's got his struggles with the faith. He's there and then he's not there. He's there, he's not there. But name me someone who hasn't been in that situation where they fluctuated. So I keep praying. I keep praying. My wife keeps praying. My son will finally come around. He gets closer and then he fades away. Gets closer, but I think a lot of the helping he does with me, preparing some music and getting it ahead of time, ready for stuff, finding it, and I have him find a scripture. How do I download the scripture? That's my way of getting him involved, and it's been pretty good. He knows a decent amount of Bible, more than I thought he did. 2 youngest ones, they're amazing. The youngest one would give you the shirt off your back if you haven't met them. We're blessed. They're very polite. They got the old school manners. They ask to be excused from the tables. So, I mean, those things, but they still have struggles. It's not like we have this perfect kids either. They still have, the oldest one is a stubborn one when it comes to schooling. He can be a tough one, and the middle one, he's not as quick to get out of bed as the other one is. So, I mean, there's all these little different things, but raising a family ain't easy. I mean, we've got my wife and I have we have older and younger. We've been doing this for a while now. Are we perfect at it? No. There is no perfect parent. There's no such thing. And it's you learn a lot as kids get older. You learn the different aspects of them. You think a certain way at one point of how, well, this is how I'm going to raise my kid. But every kid is different. Every kid reacts different. Every kid adapts to it different. You take a different approach to each child too. They're not all the same. You know, what you think you're going to get isn't always what you get. That's the thing. It's kind of sound like, what were you expecting? You know, not expecting a perfect kid, obviously, but you have to find where they excel, and then you have to find where they don't excel and how to work with that, and you have to deal with those issues as they come. I mean, anyone will tell you, any older parent will tell you. I mean, I'm not an expert, and I don't think there's any. If any parent is honest with themselves, anyone who's raised kids will tell you, man, it ain't easy, it ain't perfect, and not everything works. And all self helps. When you're younger, when you first have children, because I've definitely been there, you think, oh, you know what? Not a problem. This is how we do it. This is how you should do it. This is the way it should be done. And this is how it's going to be done. Then you get there and go, okay, that didn't work the way I thought. That was not even close to working. That worked a little bit, you know. So all those things happen. I'm not putting myself out there to be, hey, I'm the greatest parent ever. No, I'm not. I've made mistakes along the way. I've had successes and I've had failures along the way. That's just the way it is. There's no way to be perfect. There is no one perfect in the first place. There is no one righteous, not one. None of us have attained that level of perfection. We are not better than everybody else. And I'm talking about, you know, the brethren at that point, brothers and sisters. We're not better. We're not higher. We're not above the other. We're brothers and sisters. At least we should be. And so that's how we should act. I guess sometimes we can be dysfunctional, I guess, but we have to be there to exhort one another and help one another. There's a lack of love and humility and kindness. All that seems to be just dissipated. And I don't mean just on YouTube. I mean even in church buildings. It's definitely rampant on YouTube. There's just a lot of that going on, but there's also a lot of it, and it kind of is funny because I have found over the years, as being someone who was brought up in the church, and then spending a number of years watching online, and I'm seeing almost the same thing. The only difference is there's no building, so to speak, that they're in. There's still gossip, there's still slander, there's all these things. Not everyone does it, but it still exists out there, unfortunately. You wish it didn't, but there it is, it does. So, boy, I just rambled on for a while there. I don't even know how long I talked. What was that? 33 minutes of me just talking. Wow. I apologize for that. Should be the only one talking. But I think it's important to understand these things because, man, just ain't easy. Brother Jorge, I know you have children. I know that. You know, not every day is perfect. You know, some days run smooth, other days don't run so smooth. It's just the way it is. We're not at a level of perfection, and we never will be. Not on this earth, not in these bodies, not at all. So that's my approach to prepping. I say don't get overindulged in the precious metals. Is it important to have some of the stuff? Yes, preserving your wealth. You know what I mean? You have this. So if things go bad, and we've seen things, look at COVID. You couldn't even go to a store. You know, everybody's closing down, and they're all acting like maniacs everywhere. Well, what do? You can't get to a bank. You can't get your money out. I've just heard not too long ago, Bank of America, there was a glitch in their system of people couldn't get their money out. Right here in North Carolina, when we had the hurricane come up through Tennessee, and oh man, we prayed on that one that it wouldn't come up this way and hit us. And it didn't hit us. It went sideways. But what happened? They didn't have any money up in Eastern Tennessee, North Carolina. But what they were doing, if you read in the articles of news, they were doing the precious metals and silver. It was silver, basically. They were trying to barter and trade in silver, whatever they had to buy things. Ain't that funny? It goes right back to it. I put a huge study together on that whole idea with the Bible and the denarius and shekels and so forth. It's like an 18-page study. As I got going, same thing with King David. I got a whole thing on that, and that's like, I think, probably 15, 16 pages too into that. So, but you know, they didn't have anything. But they weren't, they didn't have all the preps that they wish they did. And that's another thing. So when those preps get wiped out, even all the stuff I have right here, right? Whatever I got, the food and stuff like that, tornado or hurricane come right through and take everything away. But the tornado or hurricane, guess what it can't do? Take away the word of God. It cannot take you away from being prepared. That's the only preparation that no man can take away from you. No storm can take away. No hurricane, no tornado, no tsunami. What else we got? I say hurricane. I already said hurricanes. Mudslide, volcanoes, none of that. Any of that. It can melt all this stuff, but it cannot take away your salvation. And that's the biggest preparation you're ever going to have. If you are saved, then you are prepared. I think that's huge to understand that. It's just important to know that. With God, you'll get through. Will it be easy? No. Nothing's easy. And anyone, this is when I will actually call anybody a liar. I try not to call people liars. Sometimes, people are just ignorant, or they've been misguided, or they misunderstand. But anyone who tells you that all of this is going to save you is a liar. They say that, you'll be fine. As long as if they tell you that life is going to be easy, you'll be fine, they're a liar. They're a liar. Life will never be easy. You'll have easy times. You'll have easy moments. But there will always be struggles. What's that genius's name that does the purpose-driven life? Rick Warren. There it is. And the Joel Osteens. They're just liars. They're just satanic liars. I said satanic, demonic liars. What do you want to do? Kenneth Copeland. It's pretty obvious to call them out. People go, hey, this guy's a fake preacher. I'm like, come on, really? That wasn't hard. They're liars. It's the way it is. So I don't know if anybody else has anything to add to that. It is nice being back here, though, on the live stream again. I did miss being here. It's been a couple months, and I think it's been 2 months. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been nice. It's nice to get back on here, do a little more talking. Got the studies going up every Sunday night now. I'm excited to do that. Some of the other things didn't work out the way I thought, and sometimes it's the way it happens. Sometimes you want to do something, and God says, no, those are not my plans for you, either right now or not at all. And you have to do what God tells you to do. You have to, the Spirit will lead you in the direction you need to be in. And it seems to me, as I look around me, the biggest problem I'm seeing and even hearing about these young Christian men in the world who are being misled and misguided. Not by just one guy, not by just one denomination, but by many men and many denominations. Some of those denominations I would like to call organizations. And it's sad. A lot of people believe that they're going to be fine. But I feel sorrowful for young men who are being lied to in this world by the big churches and little churches and all these things. And, you're special. Come on, man. Of course we know we're special to God. We got a purpose here. But it's important to understand these things. And there's, unfortunately, like I said, a lot of young men in this world who are just being taught nonsense and being taught by other young men, which is bizarre to me. That's a very interesting thing. Instead of going to someone who is a learned of age and have been around, who has maturity and experience, and I'm not saying just me. Please don't misunderstand me. But there are men who are in their 50s, like myself, in 60s and 70s that you could learn so much from, that have seen so much and have been around for a long time. the 25-year-old doesn't know. A 35-year-old doesn't know. Even a 40-year-old don't know. So I think but that's why there's elders, men who have. I am more apt to listen to men who have been through the ringer of life. That's me. I was at a church one time. I don't go there anymore, obviously. Two sins they had against them. Well, they have more than that, but two major ones. They put a 15-year-old up behind the pulpit so he could learn how to preach. What? I just have a problem with that. Somebody's going to go, well, Jesus was 12. Well, he's not Jesus. That kid's not Jesus. Stop doing that. Well, the apostles, you're not an apostle. So don't do that either. And I thought, wow. Well, that's the beginning of what happens. This 12-year-old, this 13-year-old, this 14-year-old, 15-year-old is now puffed up with pride. Because teenagers are quick to be puffed up with pride. Give me one teenager who's not puffed up with pride. Well, maybe there's one. Okay, there might be one. There's a million teenagers, but very rarely is that a thing. Kids are puffed up with pride, especially teenagers. And you're going to put a teenager behind the pulpit? No young man should be behind the pulpit. I would even say a young man should be saved for 20 years. 20 years. And been going through life before he should be getting up on a pulpit and start preaching. I don't think so. No, not at all. That should not be a deal. So for me, I think, and that becomes with the elders, is they need to be mature of age. Yes, the Bible says, people go, well, the Bible does not give an exact age. Some people at a younger age know more than other people. Okay, that's the problem with dealing with the exception to the rule thing. And that happens all the time. You're just like, when you take that theory, you're just like the world. It's a worldly thought process of taking that one person. Okay, well, out of a billion, you go with the one. Yes, there are younger men who can know a lot more than some old men. Yes, but as a rule, that does not happen. There is an order and system. The elder system is really set up like a military, same thing. There's a ranking order. I mean, I would think any good military man in the world would understand that perfectly. The order of how it goes. That's just the way it is. I don't care if you don't like it. That's just the way it is. Elders are important. Although I do have a problem with elders out there who want to be elders, who act like elders, or in an improper way. They're like, I'm an elder. Just so you know, just want to make sure you understand, I am an elder. Okay, tough guy, calm down, relax. And that's a man puffed up with pride and arrogance. You should listen to me. I'm an elder. Don't listen to anybody else. You listen to me. I'm an elder. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, okay. I want to talk to that guy over there. The guy who's like 80 and is not puffed up with pride. That's the guy I want to learn from. That guy. That's the guy. The greatest knowledge, I think, is people that come from the people with humility than people with arrogance and pride. So, and that's my elders. How do we get to elders? Boy, I've got all the way to elders. I told you, I don't put these out for me only, although I am the only one talking tonight. So it's our first live stream back. Well, I do hope, and that there might be other people along the way that come in, but this channel was never designed here to be about me. It's called a BAC network for a reason. It's a Born Again Christian Network. It means everybody. It's for the people, so to speak. If you're into the Constitution, we the people. It's about everyone. Not about me. It's about everyone. That's why I put this here, so people can speak whenever they want. They don't have to speak. They can just listen and watch if they want. That's fine too. My studies, like I said, will go up on Sundays, and that's what I'll do. That's a different forum, a different avenue, but it's important for brothers and sisters to have a place where they can feel comfortable, where they're not going to be belittled or talked down to, or if they have a different strain of thought process, or they saw something differently. And they may or may not be wrong, but we deal with that with love. That's what the Bible teaches us. We don't deal with it with anger, hatred, malice. Actually, it's one of the studies I got coming up. I think it's like 4 studies away. I got, let's see, you can see a whiteboard behind me. So on one side, it's got the studies that are already done and are going up. And on the other side, I've got some topic ones back there. Those are being worked on. So I just keep on plugging away. I'm out here every night, plugging away at all this. So you can have both worlds. You can actually be on YouTube doing studies, and you can be witnessing the world. You can be and go and have a job. You can do all these things, unless, of course, you're out there and traveling like Paul. If you're a Paul, well, no one can be Paul. But if you're out there and you're traveling town to town, city to city, state to state, country to country, well, you have a missionary in the church building. They have missionaries, but I'm just saying. Then I see that as a much different aspect of things. If you want to help a guy out that is just traveling and preaching, or just traveling all over the place, just go for it. That's a good thing. I hope he's single, because I don't think a married man should be doing that, but that's my opinion. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that one, and it's not going to condemn them. I'm not going to condemn them, and neither should they me. It's just my belief on that. I think that's important. But if you're a single guy and you can go out there, go for it. I think it's awesome. That's wonderful. I'll give you $20 right now. That's not a bribe. I'll send you $20 right now if you're out there as a single guy and you're going town to town. I mean, you're gonna need more than $20. I get that, but I'm just saying. Remember, these YouTube channels and stuff like the internet. I've said this before. It can shut down at any time. And then where are you? There is a huge importance to having some sort of local fellowship. I don't care if it's with 1, 2 people or 12 people. I think it's important. It's not, and I also understand it's not easy for everyone because they live in remote areas that it's tough to find anybody. I completely understand that. But even if you could meet up with a brethren once a month or once a week or something, I've extended the offer myself here on YouTube. If you're ever in the Eastern Tennessee side, you give me an email. And if I can meet up with you and have a coffee, well, you can drink the coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. But if you want to get a bite to eat, I am more than happy to do so. But see, that's the problem, too, is you have a lot of people out there who won't do that, who would just rather be on the camera. And that's a shame. That's a shame. That you can, there's a certain type of fellowship online, which is fine. What's the old saying from the 80s? It's a tool. Don't let it make you a tool. And that's important to understand. Like, it's fine to do that, but you miss out on a lot of the other part to hug a brother, to hug a sister. I won't hug a sister, but to hug a brother, to hug a sister, to shake their hand, to talk to them, to see them, to be with them. That physical part of seeing the brethren is big, and I'm absent of that right now, except for one brother in Christ I have down here that I like, that's down here. I have another one. He's not quite on the right walk, and we've been talking for a while. He's a great guy, an incredible guy. I want him. I would love to see him move more in the right direction, but a wonderful guy. In fact, he actually gifted me that guitar over there. I was surprised one day. He just came into work and gives me this guitar. I was thrown away, but I was thrown off by it. I was like, okay. And I denied it at first. I says, no, I didn't want the guitar. I'm like, thank you. I can't do it. But I finally gave in, and so I'm incredibly thankful for that. I don't deserve it at all, but I'm thankful for that guitar. But and I think it probably comes down to just treating people properly. You understand what kind of Christian they are when you feel like how do I say this in the right way? People see you and they look at how you are, how you talk, how you act, how you come across. If you come across with anger, hatred, malice, they almost become the same thing. And that's what they see, and that's what they think Christianity is. And it's not. But it's not kumbaya either. Don't get me wrong. But I'm kind to people when I work with them. I'm respectful to them, and they always know my walk. I never hide it for 1 second. Some have called me names. Some think I'm crazy. Some are on board. Some are thankful for the time we've had together. Different aspects of the way, but not one time have I had. Actually, I think it's only been 2 people that I've ever worked with that actually didn't like me, that hated me. Which is 3. That's 3 actually. It's 3 people I've worked with that didn't like me. But that's fine. I don't worry about that. But I think it's important if you can anyway, and that's another thing. You don't like some of these gospel tracks. I don't put my address on. Some I do, some I don't. I don't worry too much about it, but I don't mind putting my podcast on there. I'm a little weird about it. I'm like, should you market yourself? And things like that. But sometimes I don't, because it doesn't matter. I don't have to know where this lands. I don't. If it falls in the right person's hand and it leads them in the right direction, you can call that a fruit if you want. But I don't worry. I don't worry about these at all. If someone takes this and leads them in the right direction, they get saved, and someone else brings it to a church, I'm fine with that. I think a lot of people want to see evidence of what they've done, the evidence of their work, so to speak. I don't care. That comes off wrong. I care, but I'm not caring about taking credit or anything like that for putting this gospel track somewhere else and like putting my website on there all the time and saying, "Oh, I'm the one to save you." No, that's not how it works. Be mindful of that. I don't. Where it falls, it falls. I put them in. Like I said, I put them in bathrooms. I put them in gas stations. I put them in. Hold on 1 second. Get a little bit itchy throat. Put them wherever I can. Above gas station pumps, there's those little signs. I put them in there. Grocery stores, people's hands, wherever I can get to it. It's just whatever the opportunity arises. Next Saturday morning, we start back up again. My sons and I will be hitting the mailboxes again. We did that a little while back and got off course, but now we'll get that going again, and we'll put them there. And some might have my address on them. Some may not have my address. I don't know my home address, my website and channel. I don't worry too much about that stuff. But you have to on every one, Stephen, because they need a preacher to tell them. I agree with you. But the references I give here, they can look into it. They've got scriptures and they can look up themselves. And if they have my website, they can do that too. They can look and come to the website, come to the channel, talk about there. I don't feel the need to take credit for, like, I'm the only one out there that has to do this. There's guys out there that says, well, I'm the only one qualified to do this. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. You don't. There are a lot of men online who pretend to be teachers and preachers, and there are pastors in the pulpits and preachers in the pulpits who don't even go out there. Ain't that something? But they'll tell you, you got to spread the word. But very rarely do they go out. And if they do, some may go under the cover of darkness and stuff like that. I don't know. But I don't want to slander those people because that's not right. They should be gossiping and slander about anyone or calling people names. But it does bother me a little bit that, you will preach and teach something you do not follow of yourself. Wasn't this supposed to be about prepping? I thought that's where we were. Where are we going? I tell you all the time. We go in any direction that this video goes. We are coming up on an hour. I don't want to spend too long here. What do we got? An hour in? Yeah, we're almost at an hour. But I am thankful to be back. Hopefully, I'll get the music done next time. I do not know why it didn't work and upload. I don't understand that. I probably have to redo my subscription again for StreamYard. I had it a while back, and then I wasn't using it as much, so we shut it down. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, hopefully the music will be up next week. I know I record some of my own music, but I just do quick little videos there on YouTube. There, a couple music videos, but I really want to make sure I get the music up next time. And I was disappointed that it didn't work or come through, or maybe I can just play it a different way. I don't know. Now I'm rambling, but yeah, no, it's great to be back. Like I said, Sunday nights, the study every Sunday night the studies will be out. I don't know what time they'll be out. That's another thing. If Jorge and anyone else is watching out there now and later, there is one Saturday every third or fourth week that I will not be on because I'm on call. That's when, like, if a person whose breathing machine goes down during the night, I have to go fix it or switch it out and change it so they can breathe. So those nights I'm on call. So I won't do them on that because I hate to like have a live stream and then have to end it right in the middle of it to go on call. So there'll be I think it's every third week, something like that. Every third week is that I'm on call. So, but I don't know if anybody has anything to add before we leave. Brother Jorge, as always, try to include you in prayers and your girls. I hope they're doing well, by the way. I hope everything's going well with them. I know you got a garden going and you're working on that, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. So we've got more chickens, so got some more eggs going there. So I think we have 17 in the basket today. I think they counted. So fresh eggs tomorrow for breakfast. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. So, well, girls are doing great. Excellent. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I don't know if you have anything to add tonight, Jorge, or tonight we're just listening. And by the way, I was just looking at the screen actually. So the admin thing actually worked, which is nice. That worked out okay. I see a little wrench. I think that means you got an ad. But don't worry. Anyone watching down the road, we don't ban people here. You won't be excommunicated if you don't agree with us. It has happened to me, which is it's hilariously sad. If you can have that word, it's very, very sad. Psalm 34:3. Oh, let me just pull that up. Psalm 34:3. Oh, magnify the Lord with me and let us exalt his name together. Amen. Just drinking some water. Yes. That's a good point. I didn't even bring that up. Thank you. Having skills is important. Men used to have more than one trade. That is absolutely true. I fail in this aspect. I'm not as skilled as I should be. I was actually telling somebody at work not too long ago, probably a week or so ago, that we are a quarter of what our grandparents were. Our grandparents more men than we were. Even secular men, Christian men and secular men. Christians, some of the godly men back then were extremely more godly than we are. Men worked harder than we work today. And I'm not putting you down, Jorge, at all. I'm just saying in general, they were just harder workers. I mean, these guys, there was nothing they wouldn't do to take care of their families. Whether going to shovel pig poop in a Florida farm somewhere or Texas, whatever it may be, doing roofs in the sun. Well, you would know a little bit about construction stuff. But these men would do anything and everything to feed their family, to take care of their family, and that's huge, and that's sad. And there are no mechanics anymore. HVAC people having issues. I know that my wife and I talked about our kids that's what we want them to do is be in a trade as they get older. If we're still here, whatever time we have left, that they learn a trade. That they're going to work that way. That's hugely important. I know my oldest was going to do HVAC. He didn't end up doing it. He took electrical for a little while, and that's what he was going to do. Didn't pan out, unfortunately. But the other boys, I know my youngest kid, that boy's just He's a digger. He loves digging in the dirt. That boy get dirty. He digs these roads and these tunnels. He's got tubes going through the dirt underground to navigate the water around this whole power plant thing he's got in the yard going on digging. Like, my goodness, I'm gonna get a metal detector, see if I can find any old coins in there. He's digging so much, you know. But having a skill is incredibly important, and I wish I knew more than I did. And I put this together behind myself, but it's a very amateur job. Let me tell you that for sure. Too many electricians. That's one trade that's overlooked. Oh, overflooded. Okay, overflooded. Overflooded. Gotcha. No, I didn't really know that. To be honest with you, because I always see people hiring all the time, like they don't have anybody. But my truck's in the shop right now. Yeah, again, after I put a new not new, but a newer transmission and engine in, it's in the shop again for another situation. But he's got signs. He can't keep people either. They they went elsewhere. They wanted. I think my wife was saying that the owner's wife was saying that they needed health insurance and stuff like that. I get it. Um, that's why I think you should start young with no children if you can, and then build yourself up your situation where you're doing well for yourself. I think. I mean, plumbers. Um, listen, when the rich people supposedly take over the world, the Great Reset, they're going to still need plumbers, HVAC, electricians, mechanics, because they're not going to do it themselves. So somebody's gonna have to do it, and it's gonna have to be them. And make good money doing it. Housing might slow down in building unless there's big government grants that get put out there, where you start building all those low income housing uh, and stuff like that. But trades are huge because you need to know what you're doing on your own property. Even I mean, now I'm not perfect, obviously, but I put up my own fence over here on a chicken coop outside. I didn't do the chicken coop myself. Put these walls up myself. Wasn't a great job, but it'll do. It'll work. But any little thing you can do for yourself is important. I'm a big believer in barter and trade. I think they did it years ago. If I can find any cheap nails or screws at a field trip, yeah, a flea market or anything like that, I'll do that. Um, you never know when you need those things, but we have to be prepared for all things. And I'm not talking about we need a doomsday bunker. A lot of people go with this theory too. We have flour, yes. We have rice, yes. We have a 30-year shelf life food. We have some of that too. Mainly I'm not expecting to be here 30 years, but mainly that's because if things go down for a little while and you get another COVID situation and there's nothing on the shelves for food, excuse me, that's already happened. So being prepared for all those things. I mean, like I said, with the 10 virgins who were caught off guard, the ant who prepared diligently, Joseph who stored food. I think, the Bible teaches us all the time to be prepared. I think Joseph is in Genesis 41, I think. The ant is in Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs. Is it Proverbs 2? Might be Proverbs chapter 2. I think the 10 virgins are in Matthew. I don't really think about it because I already have a lot of those things for work. But having tools, yes. Yeah. Those are going to go flying off the shelf too. Tools and certain things getting a lot prepared and prepped up. I mean, you never know. I'm big key. I was telling my oldest boy the other day, I says, get whatever saws you can, because like electricity might be an issue down the road. You might, the rolling blackout, so to speak. Yes, we have a generator if needed. We actually wanted to be completely off grid for electricity. It didn't happen that way because we brought my father. Some of you who know me we brought our father with us so we can take care of him in his later stages of life. So unfortunately, there were some amenities that we ended up having to have to keep him because, well, mostly he wanted them to feel better and more secure. But yeah, different saws. I mean, obviously, different amounts of teats and a different direction of what the teeth of a saw go. So you can pick all those up. But I think those are, and I could be wrong, but I think those are overlooked. I see a lot. Anytime I go to a flea market or anything, I see a lot of them. I don't buy them, a lot of them. I've got a few, but they're overlooked. Hammers. I think you wouldn't think a hammer, but a hammer is a thing. You need a hammer. Uh, yeah, the skill saw is great, but like I said, you go down. I mean, well, skill saw has a better cut. I agree. But if you cut with a saw, this is my personal opinion, Jorge. You can disagree with me and tell me if I'm wrong. It's okay with me. You would know better than me. But if you sand off that end, you can smooth it up. I mean, if you're slightly off, you can smooth it up. You can smooth off the edges and make it work. That's I had to do that with a couple of pieces that I put in to brace inside the wall. So when I put the panels up, I put those on there. I put them in between, and a couple of them were a little off, but we were able to shimmy it a little bit, and well, not shimmy, sand it off a little bit. So that's important. Agreed. So what I do is I have a level and a string. So I use that level and the string to get that line across, and then cut that line down. Hey, there it is. Proverbs. I was wrong. Thank you. I thought it was Proverbs 2. I'm sorry. Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. Thank you, Prov. Yeah, appreciate that. And the ant is really just a story about being. Maybe I'll talk about that in a study sometime. I don't know. It's about being diligent and being prepared and wise. That's kind of how I look at that. Always preparing, being diligent. You never know what's going to happen, and it doesn't mean that a lot of people are hoping for the catching away tomorrow. I don't see that happening tomorrow, but a lot of people look at it that way, and I wouldn't look at it that way at all. You don't know when the time's come. A lot of people say there's evidence of this, evidence of that, and a lot of people focused on it. I'm not saying you shouldn't look into it and pay attention to it, but I find that people who get too deeply into when the catching away is coming don't seem to be living their day-to-day life or walking according to the Bible. I know that's being, accusatory. Some will take it as accusatory, judgmental, but it tends to be the case. I find a lot of end times people, and I grew up in the Pentecostal charismatic. I know a couple people who said they grew up Pentecostal, and as they talked, I'm like, yeah, I think you went to Pentecostal church for like a year at tops. I'm not putting them down, but they act like they're experts. I was born in a Pentecostal church. I grew up in the Pentecostal church. I did everything the Pentecostal charismatics did. I was there when they went from KJV to NKJV to NIV, my particular one. So I was there for that progression through. I was at the youth groups every Friday. I went to the campgrounds. They have a camp. The church I went to, they had a campground in, oh goodness, Charlton? Yeah, Charlton, Mass. I think right around there. Charlton, Mass. Is that Route 2A? That's not Route 2A. I'm trying to think of what road that is. Oh my goodness. Is that 31? I can't remember the highway. It's been so long. I feel like it's been forever since I've been up in Massachusetts. Can't remember that highway. Boy, that's going to bug me. Goes all the way from Worcester. If you take it from Worcester all the way to Palmer, Mass, it goes all the way down that way. Actually, I think it goes all the way to Boston. It might go all the way in Boston. No, Route 9 ends up going into Boston. My wife might know that. My wife might know that Route 9 goes from Boston, then it ends in Worcester, turns into another road. I can't remember. I thought I saw something there. But yeah, so I grew up. It's not a whole lot I don't know about the Pentecostal people. My dad was very hardcore Pentecostal. I grew up with the whole Pat Robertson and Oral Roberts and stuff like that. 9 goes to Boston from Worcester, Route 9. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because it goes. Because it goes through Spencer, goes through Spencer, Leicester, uh, uh, and right through all that Oxford area. Not the Mass Pike. No, Mass Pike is from not the Mass Pike, prof. The Mass Pike, the Mass Pike goes from Boston all the way to out to Springfield, Deerfield, and all that. Well, not Deerfield, but Springfield goes right to the edge of New York. So it's not Mass Pike. I like how we're trying to figure out the road. It's gonna bug me forever. No, I'm not gonna pull it up on a separate screen. I want to, but I think it's 31. But anyways, sorry. No big deal. Mass Pike would be the quickest road, although I always avoid the Mass Pike because I refuse to pay the tolls. I refuse to pay the government money to drive. I can't do it unless absolutely necessary. I think my wife and I did do it necessarily because it was unfortunate family issue up in that area and we had to get there quick. So we shot up to, from Connecticut, we shot up to Mass Pike and took Mass Pike and flew down there. I would get lost if I was driving. No, you probably know your way around some areas pretty well. Which is nice about living down here. Now, it's weird how you can drive. That's why I love driving. I learned a lot about all of Eastern Tennessee. Well, I shouldn't say all, but I've been up and down the whole side of Eastern Tennessee, even out towards Nashville. I just love driving. I love talking to people. I can't tell you how many gospel tracks that I have brought, and how many gas stations, the Weigels and Circle K. Not as many as Circle K. I didn't get into too many of those. Did a lot of Weigels, though. A lot of Weigels. Some of the Shell gas stations, Pilot, even some of the Sheets going down the highway. I left a couple along that way too. So it's exciting to do that. But man, if you could just drop a gospel, seriously though, back to gospel tracks. If you can just find yourself dropping off gospel tracks places, I'm telling you, you never know. I think people assume they have to drop them off everywhere. You don't have to worry about where you drop gospel tracks. Drop them wherever you can. I'm looking at an hour and 14 minutes here, hour 13 minutes. So we should probably wrap it up. As much as I love this conversation. I will say, unfortunately, it is next. I was looking at the schedule yesterday. It's next Saturday that I will not have a live stream because that is my on-call weekend. Sorry. But then the 2 weeks after that, be a live stream. Then the third week, it won't be a live stream because I'm on call. We'll see what happens. As time goes on, we'll see how everybody feels. If they don't mind me just ending a live stream if I get a call to go out. Because I don't get a call all the time. I've had a couple different weeks where I got no call on Saturday night, and then I got calls on Sundays to go patients being released from hospitals into their house, and then they need oxygen tanks. Yes, now somebody just go, well, you shouldn't work on a Sabbath. Well, which Sabbath? The Saturday Sabbath, the Sunday Sabbath? And they get all upset. But you know what? That's okay. I don't care because I find them people to be ignorant because if you feel me not working on a Sunday, Saturday on call, helping elderly people to breathe, well, shame on you. And boy, will you be judged by the Lord for that one. I got to be honest. So, all right. Well, let's wrap that up now. I appreciate Jorge. Man, it's been great to talk to you again on these live streams. Prov 31 gal. Talk to you later. It's nice to be back here again. So anybody watching down the road or afterwards, we'll be here more Saturdays. Studies will be on Sundays. I'll be doing different things during the week, time to time. I think I'm going to start unrolling, rolling out the King David thing I got going on. That's a multi-part. We'll be doing the kings and the Accession kings and how it went down, who were the kings after David and who they were, and stuff like that in the Bible. We'll be doing that. So look forward to that. All right. With that, Brother Jorge, it's great to have you here once again. You as well, Prob, and anybody who else is watching down the road or who tunes in. I am thankful because I always say this. You always know I do, and I am grateful for anybody who watches. I don't care if it's 5 people or 25 people. I'm thankful all the time, and I mean that with all my heart. I'm just me, and I'm grateful to be here. With that, Brother Jorge, good night. We'll see you later. Have a beautiful time. And I'll talk to you another time. God bless. Have a beautiful night.